this video, I have all kinds of fun October homemaking projects going on. Harvest season is in full swing, and although we did not have a very good growing year, therefore not a very big harvest, there still is so much to do. We have potatoes, corn, green beans, and tomatoes that we've been harvesting. I just canned some green beans this week. Last year we were able to grow so much of our food for the year, but this year has not been the same because of the wild weather we had early in the season, which destroyed quite a bit of crops in our area. Still, there are quite a few herbs to harvest. We had a really good growing season for the herbs. I had a huge crop, double crops, triple crops of basil and cilantro. I grew hops this year. I tried last year, the plant didn't survive. This year it did, and I have hops I've been harvesting, chamomile, and of course lovely sunflowers that I'm making lotions with. Many of the sunflowers though are going to the chickens. I grew extra sunflowers for the chickens. Anyways, in this video I thought we would just have a little bit of harvest fun. Before we get too far into this video, I was wondering if you have kids, and if so, are these following scenes familiar? Okay, I have to admit, I wish I had found these pumps for soap a lot sooner than I did. I like these because you can put them on a mason jar. My favorite one is from Azure Standard. Not as pretty, but you know what? It's super functional, and one pump does the trick for a load of dishes. Speaking of Azure Standard, I have an Azure Standard haul that I'm saving for the end of this video for you. It's a little bit different of an Azure Standard haul than you've probably ever seen before, so stick through to the end to see that. Homestead activities are not the only October homemaking projects I have going on. I have so many things going on in the works. A few of them are top secret. I'm really hoping to release more information about them later this month, but I have been working overtime. With so much to do, I find that my stress levels are a little bit elevated. And with such a small harvest, inflation, what's going on in the world, and then issues around the homestead, I have found that I've really had to push more in and pray a lot more often and lean into the Lord. It's times like this that really force you to kind of check your trust levels. Just where it was needed. One of my big challenges lately is our water situation. So one of the other reasons that our garden did not do well at all this year is because we didn't have enough water. We had a major drought this year, and there wasn't quite enough water for the garden. Faces merchant change, but your face remains the same. We live on a mountain and have a low producing well. We've been needing a cistern. Of course, that's quite an expense, and we're not quite sure how to do it, so we have to do some more research before we can get to that. Meanwhile, the water has been so low that I have been on the brink of having to take the clothes to the laundromat a few times this summer. When things like this happen, which I know they've been happening to more and more people these days, things break down. Nothing is made to last anymore, and because of inflation, everything is so expensive to replace. All things considered, I think the best way to put it is this economy is not family friendly. And the real kicker is that it doesn't look like it's going to get a lot better anytime soon.
I got nothing to worry about when you're by my side. I looked out and I saw the rain. I wanted it to go away.
Sometimes it becomes easy to think that maybe God doesn't care how hard life is for you at this point in time. If you're caught in a place where it just feels like you can't get a break, you must remind yourself that God loves the poor too. That's when I find it's really, really helpful to look around. You look around, you realize it's not just you. If you look in the right places. I know there's so many influencers these days that seem like they have the perfect homes and the perfect kitchens and the perfect lives. It can almost make you wonder if God loves them more because he's obviously blessed them so much more richly, it appears. But it's really, really critical to remind yourself everybody has problems. Everybody has something that is not perfect in their life. Everybody has something that God is using to bring them closer to him and to help them or teach them to lean into him and trust him more. Not everybody might show it, but everybody that belongs to the Lord has something that God is using to bring them closer to him. And I think part of that is because he doesn't want us getting too attached to this life. Sometimes Christians can make the mistake of thinking that if they're a Christian, then they will be blessed and everything will be peachy and hunky-dory. Well, John 16:33 promises otherwise. It reads, I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world. Psalms 37:23-34 says, the Lord makes firm the steps of one who delights in him. Though he may stumble, he will not fall, for the Lord upholds him with his hand. I have some more Bible verses, some promises that I want you to claim and speak over your life. Psalms 12:5, the poor suffer and God will protect them. Psalms 14:6, God is the refuge for the poor from oppressors. Psalms 35:10, God rescues the poor and the needy. Fight the urge to think that God doesn't care. Fight the urge to think this must be happening because he doesn't care that much about me or my family. Fight that and claim these promises and pray them over your life. Pray them, remind God of his promises, and ask him to bring relief to your life.
But you were there, holding my hand. You were there.
This is an onion drying rack that my husband made. I think it's so pretty.
I saw the flashes in the dark, colors on the wall, bright against the monochrome, where I felt so small. I drew the curtains up, pulled away the blinds, heard a rushing wind through the windows of my mind. I began to glow with a love divine. Shine, 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 shine.
In all honesty, we probably could have afforded a cistern by now if I didn't have such a fetish for baskets.
Shine, 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 shine.
Summer long, I have been hitting our local thrift store looking for baskets, and I've only found maybe 2 baskets all summer long. I've also been needing more containers and jars like this. Yesterday, I hit our local thrift store and look at what I scored. Look at all these baskets. I had a large quantity of baskets and I put them somewhere and I couldn't remember where I put them all summer. All summer I've been looking for my basket collection and I couldn't find it. I'm like, where did I put it? We've moved twice in the last 6 years with 6 kids. And in the current home we're living in, it's under construction. So things are constantly being moved to a different place while we work on one area of the home. I don't know where anything is anymore. To make things more interesting, I've got ADHD and I'm going through the change. And when you're going through the change, ADHD gets a lot worse. Needless to say, I can never find anything when I'm looking for it anymore. It seems like somebody commented on one of my funny shorts that was about perimenopause. They said, I don't believe in perimenopause. Don't worry, honey, you will. Well, just this week, I finally found where I put my baskets. Anyways, I wanted to show you guys some of the loot that I got yesterday. I use baskets constantly for all kinds of things. I use them, as you see behind me, to stash things in. I have this basket back here that I've had for a while. It's actually a planter. Sometimes I use it as a planter, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I use it to put things in that need to go downstairs. That's what I'm using for right now. But one of the biggest things I use baskets for, especially during harvest season, is harvest foods coming in from the garden. This makes it so I don't have to have those ugly plastic totes all over my house and boxes and things like that. So these are great for storing herbs that you're drying in. The nice thing about them too is you can hang them up. You can hang them in various places of your home. Like I could hang them on this ladder over here. There are so many places I could hang baskets so they're up, they're out of the way, they're off the floor, they're off the counters, and I have my surfaces. So baskets are something that I find as a very useful homemaking tool that I use all of the time. They're attractive too. I scored all of these yesterday and I'm looking at the price. It looks like most of them are under $4. This one's $4.99, so it was a little more expensive, but most of these are like $2.99 here, and this one's another $4.99. It's kind of neat. It's a little bit off kilter, so it's higher on this side, so that's probably why it was a little more expensive. But these baskets, I'm so glad to have baskets again. In my island, I have cubicles and I needed more cubicle box things for, for it. And I found this for $6. I think this seriously would have cost me, I'm not even sure, like 20 something brand new. I have been reorganizing my kitchen. Normally I like to wait till after harvest to organize my kitchen, but it got so bad that I had to start reorganizing my kitchen early this year. So some of the things that I've been finding for organizing the kitchen are just more glass containers that have the sealed wooden lids. I've been keeping an eye out for these. Here's one here. It doesn't have the wooden lid, but it has the sealed lid. So I use these on my herb shelf. And then last but not least, I found some super affordable candle holders. This one was 99 cents and it's perfect for my little beeswax candle lights. And then I found this beautiful, this was the most expensive find yesterday. I just fell in love with it the instant that I saw it. It is so pretty, but it's gonna be a candle holder. As I've mentioned before in many of my videos, we need candles, lots of candles, because the power goes out quite frequently where we live. So I like getting candle-based things for the candle holders, and bonus points when they're this pretty. But I've been needing more candle holders for big, large candles, and this one just jumped out at me and called my name. It's very boho eclectic, which is my style. Somebody left a comment a couple months ago asking how we have such nice things when we are low income. and I wasn't sure how to answer the question because it wasn't asked in the most respectful way. But I do want to be helpful to people, especially those going through hard times. Probably around 80% of our home is thrifted or gifted. One of the things the person mentioned is, how do you have cast iron pans and things like that? Cast iron pans, again, those were thrifted. My husband was given some of them and he found some of them. My husband has actually done some dumpster diving too for things that were, we actually found some real silverware one time in a dumpster. He did. I frequent thrift stores often for things that we need. Sometimes I've been known to wait up to like 5 years for an item that I needed just so I could get what I wanted at a lower cost at a thrift store. I don't do this with everything, but I do always look for deals. So the refrigerator behind me, for example, it is a cute retro fridge. I got that fridge for under $500. Buying 2 of them was less expensive than buying any refrigerator that I could find that would suit our larger family's needs. I have been a frugal homemaker for over 20 years. I have so many tips and tricks that I've picked up. I'm going to do a whole video with some of my frugal tips that I have picked up through the years. So be sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on if you would like to catch that when I release it, which will not be too far down the road. For today's recipe, I want to share with you guys how to preserve herbs and keep the freshness from them. So a lot of herbs, if you dry them, they lose some of the volatile oils that make them truly taste different and special. Basil is one, cilantro is another one. If you dry those herbs, they lose the specialness that makes them so delicious. One of the ways that I found to harvest them and keep that is to freeze them. So you have to freeze them a special way. Here's how I do it. I take my herbs, I chop them up like this. This is a whole bowl of cilantro, and I chop it up. That way it'll blend more easily, and I put just enough oil and a little bit of lemon juice in, just to make it so that it will spin. Then you can freeze it in baggies. You could also freeze it in ice cube trays. I prefer baggies, and I like to freeze it super thin so that I can break off chunks in the sizes that I would like. This isn't necessarily a recipe that I have, but more of a tip. If you're a tea drinker, did you know you can blend your own tea? You can make teas like orange spice and chai. So that's what I have done this fall. Instead of buying expensive tea bags, I decided I'm going to blend my own. You can find so many chai recipes online, but what I did is I went and I bought my own cardamom, star anise, clove, cinnamon, allspice, and black tea. The smell of cardamom is absolutely wonderful, you guys. So if you want to do a simmering pot, a pinch of cardamom would definitely take your simmering pot over the edge. We literally live on a mountain and we have low water pressure, so we have water issues. So I like to water all of our produce outside with the jet stream of hose and put all of the water on our flower gardens. That way we conserve water.
Spray?
The best thing about doing this with the hose outside on things like this is you can get them cleaned up very quickly. Go ahead. If you have canning to do like I do and you don't want to run the air conditioner extra long, it really helps to have an electric canner that you can set up outside. I just set up a little makeshift kitchen right outside my door here, and this is where I like to do a lot of the canning. It works perfectly. Even on a hotter day, it feels better to do this outside than it does inside, because the house will start to get super muggy and humid and just hot, and it's hard for the air conditioner to keep up. So doing this outside is refreshing, I feel like, and it conserves energy. We just had our big corn harvest. It was probably a month and a half late this year. This year, I remembered to save the corn silk. Google the benefits of corn silk, and you will see why I like to save this. It was time to figure out what we were going to do for bucks to mate with our Nubian goats, and I decided to go with Oberhausley bucks. partially because I could not find anybody that had a Nubian buck for sale in our area. We decided to house our bucks on an opposing side of the property from where the Nubian does are. If you keep your bucks and your does together, your goat milk will taste like the bucks smell. So that's a bad idea. So we put our bucks and our does far apart. We will only put them together when it's time to breed them. That meant, however, we needed to make some housing for the bucks. My husband made a buck house. He did such a wonderful job. I'm going to show you guys my Azure haul. I'm not going to talk about every single thing here because it's pretty self-explanatory. If you've never heard of Azure Standard before, where have you been? Oh my goodness. Azure Standard is a bulk, healthy and organic goods, foods, and products family-owned company. They specialize in quality bulk and natural foods. You can buy bulk or you can buy small quantities from them. A lot of people don't realize they can get small quantities of things from Azure Standard too. If you are looking for high quality, organic, non-GMO foods, Azure Standard is where you want to look. I will link to them in the description below. Azure Standard has been around since the 80s. In fact, my mother before me was one of the first customers of Azure. So you could say I have been enjoying Azure's extremely competitive, low priced, but quality products for over 30 years. I love Azure Standard so much that I've actually been a drop coordinator in times past when I had less on my plate. When I moved to the Midwest about 20 years ago, Azure wasn't delivering that far. I would consistently call them and ask them if they had a drop point in Missouri where we were living, and they didn't. And finally one year I called and they were working on it. I was excited to be part of helping them make Missouri a drop location. So if you've ever heard of St. Joseph, Missouri, I was the first one to start the first drop there and gather some people together to start shopping from Azure. I love all of the mason jar attachments and lids. The sprayer so far has been super high quality. I like the pour cap. It's perfect for cream from my goats. The flip cap is super handy for so many things as well. Back to the spray nozzle. I have gone through so many cheap ones that I thought were quality when I bought them. They had good ratings, good reviews on Amazon, but they all end up breaking within a short time after getting them, it seems like. I've had some that have lasted maybe up to a couple years, but I'm really hoping that this one from Azure lasts a lot longer. It just seems wrong to me that things are only made to last a year or two. I showed you guys a little bit of organizing in this video. I am saving the bulk of my kitchen organizing for a future video. I am going to do a kitchen restock for some areas, probably not all. I'm also going to show you guys some amazing organizational things that I have found for my kitchen. My kitchen, obviously, still isn't done. Probably over the winter, we'll make some more headway in it. I know some of you are thinking, geez, Shayla, it's been under construction for like 3 years since you moved in. Well, patience is a virtue, right? I am very thankful that even though it isn't finished, I can still make it organized. So I'm excited to show you guys some of the things that I have found to organize it. Maybe we'll do that in the next video. Make sure you have subscribed and hit the bell for notifications to see more from me if you would like to.